Exclusive contracted novel by Feilu Novel Network. Black and Red Journey. Mage, werewolf and female vampire. A woman's dark journey in the southern United States in the 19th century. She was trapped in the basement by a mysterious man, and her body underwent a strange transformation. She quickly realized that there were countless crises lurking in the darkness of the South. Mages, werewolves, and humans chasing them engage in a life and death battle here, while the ultimate controller of the supernatural world, the vampire, watches coldly. It was not a good thing for her to catch the attention of the nobles at night. To survive in this cruel world, she needs to give a lot, but she won't let anything stop her. This southern beauty has sharp teeth and is willing to constantly learn and improve in this hostile new world. She will use all necessary means to regain her freedom, whether it be intelligence, charm, or those novel instincts that make blood so tempting. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1. The Origin of Cruelty. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Where am I? I took a deep breath and immediately turned into a cough. I vomited something on the ground. Ah! Nausea. This is really embarrassing. I hope no one around me can witness my shame. This idea arose and disappeared in an instant. I tried to stay calm, but I already felt signs of panic. I smell the smell of dampness, ancient stones, and rust. This is not my bedroom, nor is it any hospital I would be taken to. What happened? I'm lost. Through the falling of blonde hair, I could see the stone bricks very clearly, as if the distance had not affected my vision. Darkness is now just a deeper shadow, not an impenetrable curtain. I can hear dripping water and the creaking of wood, and each sound can be heard clearly, not as background noise. The air is filled with a damp and rusty smell, and the taste on the tongue is both sweet and distracting. Every feeling was magnified, and each briefly caught my attention in a confusing dance. Quickly, this sensory overload evolved into a piercing pain, right behind my eyes. I feel nauseous. I need to understand. I take deep breaths to control my fear. I won't collapse. I won't scream. I am not the delicate woman in Charleston who faints at the sight of deep red liquid. I am a strong person. My fear has not subsided, but I have regained control of myself. I don't know what kind of predicament I am in, but I know that panic is not helpful. I will not yield to it. Be vigilant, I will continue to check. The wall is made of ordinary gray stones, with only a huge door and a window with iron railings above it. Is this a farce? I'm in the dungeon. I must be dreaming. Yes, it's a dream, I'm still sleeping. Or maybe I'm crazy. This is one of those nursing homes I've heard of. What is this? I'm wearing rags. Even slaves wouldn't wear such clothes. I swear, I will come to the bottom of it. My name is not unable to concentrate. My thoughts are a confusion of impressions and emotions, a need that I cannot understand. They disappeared before I could fully grasp them. I shook my head and bit my lips in an attempt to clarify my thoughts, but to no avail. Nothing works. I can't remember my name. I must remember my name. My mouth opened uncontrollably and my voice came out. AI. Alien, pain. I bent forward, my throat burning. Quickly, the pain spread to my stomach, tearing me apart from the inside. My thoughts were blank due to intense pain. This is 100 times worse than anything I have ever felt before. Oh my goodness, please stop. Please stop. Someone, anyone. It seems that someone has heard my prayer. I can hear the clanking sound of a door opening in the distance. 3 groups of footsteps are approaching. Hurry up, I beg you. I'll tell you what I heard. The sun has just set, so it's possible. Although there was no light source, I could clearly see the face of my potential savior, and now I am convinced that I am destined to be doomed. This person looks like a robber blocking the way. Well, if I encounter him on the street, I will immediately run away and call for the nearest guard. His disheveled black hair and months of untrimmed greasy beard make him look like a laborer. However, if it weren't for a pair of crazy blue eyes, I might have regarded him as a laborer. This person smiled and revealed a whole set of crooked teeth. How cold. And I firmly believe that this person can help me, if it weren't for a strange feeling stopping me. This person already belongs to someone else. And I'd better not touch him. I know I should be curious, but the pain makes me dizzy. The second man is not white. He resembles some laborers who help dig railways, with golden skin and slanted eyes, but compared to them, he is like comparing a Pomeranian dog to a wolf. His arm muscles protrude, and his expression is indeed fierce. I can tell from his posture that he is a swordsman or some kind of boxer. He showed the elegance of a predator as he moved, and once again a strange feeling surged in his heart. I firmly believe that this person's danger far exceeds his appearance. There is a cold atmosphere around him, and he cannot help me. The third man can. I feel my chest filled with joy and warmth. Yes. This person, like me, is a prisoner, a confused teenager. He was wearing the clothes of a blacksmith or perhaps a barrel maker, with a thin chain hanging around his neck. He can stop the pain, I deeply know. So, I moved. Then I stopped. I looked at my outstretched arm in confusion, but of course, fool me. I am still bound by chains, a heavy silver-white chain firmly securing my wrist to the wall. I am trapped. Wow. A lively person. Come on, give her the child. The Asian man frowned. Our eyes met, and a hint of sympathy appeared in his rough face. He pushed young people towards me. My left hand brushed over the boy's collar. Yes. Yes, I have finally been saved. I brought my hero closer and breathed into his neck. Oh, this exquisite bouquet is like a perfect vintage of exquisite wine, so rich, so intoxicating. I'm losing my sanity. My canine teeth brushed over his skin and pierced his flesh. Something thick and sweet brushed my tongue. The world is overjoyed. I have nothing to say. For eternity, nothing exists. Apart from the heavenly joy of rolling, boiling, and drowning, there is nothing. I died and lived again, I died again. The wave of happiness ravages my existence and shatters my soul. If this is only half of having sex, I understand those women who find themselves having children out of wedlock. This is enough to sell one's soul. I like it. Love it, love it, love it. I hope it will never stop. Alas, sometimes it is indeed the case. I don't know how long it will take, but when the tide recedes, I know the certainty of peace and everything normal in the world. How peculiar it is. No matter how many prayers I pray for, I cannot reach such heights. I have reached the realm of God. I let go of the young man lying on the ground. He can no longer help me, and to make matters worse, he smells terrible. The creepy man giggled and dragged the adolescent's chain, pulling him out of my reach, as if I were an animal. How rude. I frowned in disapproval. What? My voice was hoarse. What does this mean? How I wish I could express my anger towards being imprisoned like this. Not even a bucket of water or a night pot. Do I have to live like a wild beast? I don't want to think about it. I don't want to consider many things. The short white man jumped up in surprise, even the Asian guardian raised his eyebrows. What's wrong with them? Do they want me to shrink and beg? Milady. Forgive this humble Baudouin, right? I didn't expect you to be like this. I spoke impatiently and angrily to his companion. Warrior, would you like to explain why I was detained like this? Although Buduin was very anxious, this person didn't seem to find it funny. This is for your own safety. My safety. I will be safe when I am not bound and at home, you rascal. What do you need to do to let go of me? Budwan interrupted me, clearly feeling annoyed by being ignored. Don't worry about your cute little head, lady, you will be released soon. I want to continue, I want to reluctantly obtain information from the two of them, but I feel so tired, so tired. Numbness invaded my limbs, making everything so heavy. My eyelids slipped due to the weight of the executioner's axe. Chapter 2. Women in Fairy Tales. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The plantation is now in summer. Sugarcane grows from the red soil, lush and lush, looking green all over. The merciless sunlight shone on my shoulders, almost the weight of my body. If there is no scent of breeze and river water, it will be unbearable. A tall blond man knelt in front of me. His knife cut into the flesh of the sugarcane fruit until only a dripping sugarcane stick remained. His face was uneven, flushed, and his golden beard tangled together, but I didn't care. I inherited his shining blue eyes and looked at me with all the warmth in the world. Try this, my Angie, I don't want to. This is not clean. Try to make Dad happy, Alez. Consistent. I took it with a small hand and then put it into my lips. It has a strange fibrous shape, while also sweet and juicy. Look. Your dad knows best. That's why you should listen, my Angie. I told you to wear a hat outside because it's very hot when the sun comes out. But did you listen? Oh no, you didn't. And now, you're burning. Flames spewed out from the flesh on my hands, and I screamed as I tried to stop them, but my other arm caught fire and the fire spread throughout my body. Very painful, very painful. The blackened flesh cracked open, revealing the dull bones. My hair is on fire. Nothing can stop the raging fire. I prayed for darkness to take me away, and in the end, it did indeed take me away. I woke up in the same gray cell. There are no signs of kidnappers or others. I feel strange. A part of me is struggling and resisting, trying to make me question my situation. I realized that everything was inconsistent, but I found it difficult to concentrate. Just like a patient with a high fever, my grasp of reality is fragile and uncertain. No matter how hard I try to concentrate, I can only get a little clarity. I remember a nightmare. I remember yesterday. I remember my name. What is it? Arian. Yes, my name is Arian, although I must be honest that it's just a name. Using my voice is helpful. I will strive to do so again. My name is Arian. I am 19 years old. I have reached the age of marriage. I have pursuers. I think so, right? From. Two city names come to mind, one is Baton Rouge, giving people a sense of livability. The other one is New Orleans, which feels more exciting but also a bit dirty. I cannot complete this sentence. I feel like I'm floating in indifference, and I can't let this happen, so I force myself to continue moving forward. What am I? I have a family. Yes, I know this is right. I tried to recall the man in my dream, his smile and happy expression, but his image became blurred, and another person replaced him. The second man is terrifying. I remember a cruel smile and doll-like eyes, reflecting a soul as dark as night. When the same desire struck again, my throat became dry. This is very natural because people need to drink a considerable amount of water every day. I remember the story of sailors becoming crazy when deprived of water, their rationality being deprived, and they suffering torment when unable to ingest liquids. I am certain that someone will come. If they wanted me to die, it would have happened long ago. Time passes extremely slowly. My thirst intensified to the point where I began to moan. My teeth were painfully biting my increasingly dry lips. The only redemption is that 2 days have passed and I didn't go. Well, it's awkward and strange. Why didn't I go? To what? The distant clanging sound interrupted my thoughts, no matter what they were at that time. I have forgotten. 3 sets of footsteps rang out again. I want to know how I can distinguish so accurately, but, it's not really important. They quickly stopped and the Asian man from yesterday glanced at me before opening the door. He walked in and stood on the side, as solemn as the British Royal Guards. The second visitor is a woman from a fairy tale. Indeed, if someone described her to me, I would say they were scammers, yet she stood here. Tall and slender, her slender body was dressed in a blue robe, which would be the envy of King William's palace. It perfectly fits her figure, both tempting and not vulgar, considering her silhouette. This is truly a huge achievement. Her skin is as white as alabaster, and her face is a model of elegance and majesty. The black curls hang down with restraint, forming a delicate hairstyle with 2 stunning emerald-like bright green eyes set in. If my mouth weren't that dry, I might be stuck like a country bumpkin now. The same cold atmosphere surrounding Asian men also came from her, but I hesitated whether to compare them because she seemed to be alone. If a man's is a drum, then a woman's is an orchestra. The pressure it gives me makes me feel scared from the bottom of my heart, and I don't think asking her for anything is a good idea. I turned to the last person who came in, a man, and I immediately fell in love with him. He is tall and handsome, like an ancient king in legend. Brown curls and brown hair adorn the skin lightly kissed by the sun. He has a strong physique, but not the heavy physical feeling of a farmer. That is the deadly elegance of swordsmen. I feel like I am kneeling before Achilles or Romulus, and this is the existence of this person. I only know that he is my person. His breath was not so cold, and in some way it became familiar, so powerful and restrained. I was immersed in his atmosphere, and a strange warmth spread in my stomach. Oh, shame. Can I be so easily influenced by someone I just met? I can't. However, I know that if this man encounters me, I will be unable to extricate myself. I forgot about my thirst and my discomfort. If he holds me, I can die without regret. His descendants can communicate, but... I blinked and realized that the aristocratic lady was talking to an Asian man, obviously Augustine. The strangest thing is that they don't speak English. Their language mainly consists of monotonous vowels and softened consonants, occasionally with some throat sounds. I'm sure I've never heard anything like this before, but I can understand it. I assure you, she has spoken, Mrs. Moore. I must have daydreamed again. This feeling of lack of attention is so exhausting. Now my lover must think I am a fool. I must give the best impression so that he will always belong to me. I turned to him and used the pauses in the conversation, or rather harsh reprimands, to express to him. Greetings. All eyes fell on me. No, that's not quite right. If I were to speak English now, they wouldn't see me as a knowledgeable person. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Arian. May I know your names? There, concise and polite. My voice hoarse in the middle of the sentence. I was dirty and dressed in tattered clothes that even orphanages wouldn't accept, but my behavior was always impeccable. The woman frowned and showed extreme disgust, making people feel like I was covered in feces all over. She didn't speak, turned around and left the room, covering her nose with a sachet. If it weren't for that man, I would blush with shame and anger. He knelt in front of me, and I was immersed in the intense light of his liquid-like eyes. He is smiling, he must be. He is proud of me, I think. No, he is arrogant. No, he is proud of me. He loves me and only wants to give me the best. I love him. I don't love it. He hurt me. I love him, he will always belong to me. A comfortable blanket covers my thoughts, leaving only admiration. I hold my breath, waiting for a word, anything, until I can no longer bear it. I moved. Once again, the chain stopped me, and my face was only a few fingers away from his golden skin. I struggled hard, pulling, and the metal groaned, but of course, I was too weak to break free. After all, I am just a human. I cannot bend metal. Can I? This man caught my attention and my craving temporarily subsided. The fragrance of his perfume made me dizzy and feel safe at the same time. I am by his side, this is where I should be. Yes. No. Yes. He lightly touched my chin with one finger and lifted my head until our eyes were level. His skin touch made me shiver slightly from behind. You need to call us masters. Yes, master. You can only speak when asked. I nodded silently. Of course, I will do as he says. You must obey the woman known as Meina in all things. You need to behave appropriately. If you do, you can absorb our essence and live in 3 days. I nodded frantically. I want to say that I will perform well, but I hesitate to speak up. The man had already walked away and turned to Ogtai. Oh, how I love it when he's so close to me. Everything is what I expected. Everything is what I long for. My freshman is still in prison, warden. Ogtai's bow was almost flattering, which was strange to such a man, but how could I blame him? Who can stand in front of this man and claim to be equal to him? Even Alexander and Scipio of Friginus would surely feel inadequate. The man left the cell without looking back. Why did he leave me like this? I love him so much, he must understand very clearly. I am his candidate. Am I still not good enough? Perhaps a noble woman from Louisiana is too rustic for him. Perhaps I should cut open the belly of that jealous green tier graffiti prostitute and strangle her with her organs. Wait a minute. What am I thinking? I heard a mournful cry and soon realized it was coming from my throat. Ah! I have to control myself. What's wrong with me? A strange Asian man approached me with a silver key. Ah, yes, Ogtai. He was here before. He wants to take me out, and then. What is he doing? Ah, yes, I finally remember. I will obey that wonderful man. My love. No, despicable thing. Love. I remember his command. I can only speak when asked. I will obey Meina in everything. I want to behave appropriately. Since he asked me so and he is so charming, I will do it. I just hope to have something to drink. I am extremely thirsty. Ah! I shouted. The handcuffs fell heavily to the ground, making an astonishing noise and taking away a layer of skin. I look at my free wrist now. Terrifying. I was skinned. My body was peeling and painful, covered in black blood. I believe I am about to vomit. I took a step forward, but nothing happened. I saw those ugly wounds, but I didn't feel nauseous. They must have been infected and are likely to leave scars. Oh my goodness. Do I have to bear a lifetime of shame for my imprisonment? Slowly come out. I walked forward with unsteady steps. I feel weak, dizzy. I pray to them where there is water. Chapter 3. Meina. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I flew into a rage. The Asian man stared at me with a mixture of disgust and vigilance, and I couldn't help but feel offended. Of course, I'm wearing dirty and tattered clothes, just like a coal merchant. It's unbelievable that my kidnapper was so bold. In the end, I left my cell and saw a short corridor made of stones. A torch provides enough light for me to see everything clearly, which surprised me a bit. The passage is covered with what I believe to be arrow windows. How unique it is. I must have fainted and miraculously teleported to a Scottish territory. Ogtai locked the door behind me and I walked forward, eager to leave this dark place. As I was about to walk to the second door, a cold and shiny military knife lightly tapped on my shoulder. Stop. Stand aside. I turned around angrily, even though I remained silent. Does he dare to draw a knife on me? The master said I want to listen to Meina, he's not her. He has no right to give orders to me. I want him to know what pain is, and then one hand grabbed my tattered shirt and pushed me towards the wall. He threw me out like a doll. My back collided with the rock, and a piercing pain erupted in an instant. My head also collided with it, and my teeth chattered due to the impact. Pain spreads throughout every bone, only exacerbating the discomfort I have already felt. Ah! His hand was firmly nailed to my chest. My bones creaked under his torment. I scratched his arm desperately to make him let go of me, but when I felt a metallic chill in my neck. Ah! I don't allow you to get angry with me, new student. There are red spots on his sleeves. It seems that in my panic, I grabbed him with blood all over my hands. My nails are black and pointed. When did it happen? His weapon left my neck, but the tip of his sword was deeply inserted under my chin until I began to scream. Oh my goodness, what did I do to suffer such treatment? Why are they so cruel? It hurts so much. Did I make you understand? Yes. I cried. I hate being so lowly, but what can I do in the face of such barbaric behavior? Slowly, he let go of me, even though his knife was still unsheathed. I remained motionless, kneading my pitiful chest. Fear began to seep into my soul and awaken primitive instincts. I want to escape, but I can't. The door is locked. I don't even know where to go. Ogtai patiently used his set of keys, and in the end, we passed through the last metal door and walked out of a formal building. This is such a beautiful building. I wanted to take a deep breath, grateful that I had left this damn place, but I found myself at a loss. Who would spend so much wealth in a rational mind? A corridor extends to my right, with an intersection and a dead end on the left. The closed door alternates with a low key recess supported by Doric columns. The ground is made of marble, and the walls are made of pink granite. Hanging tapestries and paintings, it gives a low key elegance. In America, I will never doubt the existence of such a place. I believe I need to cross the Atlantic and arrive at Buckingham Palace or Versailles Palace to find a match for this flashy and impractical thing. And the owner of this place makes me feel extremely helpless. I tremble again. I thought I had seen wealth before, how naive I am. These people are not for the purpose of quickly demanding ransom and traveling westward as hooligans. You know, if I escape and encounter a law enforcement officer, who will he believe? A dirty wanderer or the owner of this place? My testimony will become the gibberish of a crazy woman. What kind of situation have I fallen into? Excitement woke me up for a moment, as if external stimuli could lift the veil of my soul, but soon, I found it difficult to concentrate. Why do I want to run away? I want to see that man again. This is the desire that I yearn for the most in my heart. Ogtai led me up another staircase and through another corridor. We passed by a man in a suit, and if he walked out, he would definitely sweat profusely. Two women in maid clothing emitted a pleasant odor, and there was a young girl in a white dress. Every time we pass by someone, Ogtai grabs my neck, forcing me to lower my head and prevent me from looking into their eyes, even though I already have enough shame. In the end, the warden took me out of those endless alleys and pushed me into a bedroom. Before I could panic, he asked me to wash it clean and then slammed the door shut. I checked again. The room itself is quite small, which is very wise because there are so many people inside. The decoration is also very luxurious, mainly in red and gold. Those Baroque-style corridor designers clearly also had an impact on my new residence. The bed has 4 pillars that occupy the central position of the entire room, with a writing desk and a chair next to it. The living space was separated by a white partition, and I found a copper bathtub, toiletries, and another unexpected discovery on the other side. There is a hot water supply here. I prepared for a shower, took off that despicable potato bag, and happily slid into the bathtub. I don't know if my current feeling is due to previous hardships or my physical condition, but the process of taking a shower has never been so enjoyable. Water caresses my skin with its silky touch, and the heat of the liquid seeps into my body, making me feel happy. I almost forgot how thirsty I was. Oh, how foolish. There's water now. What am I waiting for? I turned on the faucet, delivered warm liquid to my lips, took a quick sip, and without a doubt knew that unfortunately, it didn't work. How strange. Is this a symptom of some kind of imbalance? Okay, we'll consider this issue later. When did my skin become so pale? A few weeks ago, when I arrived in Louisiana in the summer, I remember there was a slight but noticeable brownish color, but now I look pale like a Canadian. My nails are also black and quite sharp, which I cannot explain. Another mystery has been added. Perhaps I should realize what I have become. Why don't I feel hungry? Wait, there's something more urgent to deal with. I must behave appropriately. If the warden came in and I was still wearing less, I would definitely die of embarrassment. A qualified lady can only endure so much humiliation in a day. I strive to scrub myself and enjoy every moment. After drying my body, I found underwear and a simple linen dress on the writing desk, and immediately put them on. They don't fit perfectly, and the waist is a bit tight, but I find that I don't care. It feels great to be able to dress decently. The soft and fluffy clothes touch my skin, it's a godsend. I was intoxicated until I was disturbed by a constant knocking on the door. I opened the door and saw 2 men standing outside. Ogtai stared at me expressionlessly, while the other man was young and dressed like a servant. I was thirsty as soon as I smelled his scent. What a charming perfume. Before I could lean closer, Ogtai's hand grabbed my neck again. Ah! This person must provoke me. I want to tear him apart, like a dog. New students. I forced myself to swallow my saliva. I don't want to repeat the prison scene again. The thugs clearly stated that they would take advantage of the opportunity to use violence. Of course, except for the handsome gentleman. Take orders and stop. The servant's eyes revealed an indescribable fear. His chocolate-colored eyes stared at my smile and began chattering in an unknown language that I didn't care about. He tried to retreat, but was grabbed by the prison warden's steel-like hand, which only aroused my crazy desire. It pierced into my chest, penetrated into my mind, and demanded satisfaction. Except for that cruel desire, nothing else is important. How strange, a frightened man makes me excited. Even more thirsty. This kidnapping turned me into a monster. What? No, this torture just makes me a bit hysterical. Yes. Just a little nervous. Not worth mentioning. When he tried to push me away in vain, I grabbed onto him and smiled softly. When his eyes met mine and became blurry, I still laughed. I took a deep breath of his fear, with a hint of longing. Delicious. My fangs pierced through the skin of his neck, and finally, I satisfied this despicable desire. Once again intoxicated. I was taken away, I was plundered, I was destroyed. If there is a way to transcend time and space, that's it. No mendicant, prophet, wizard, or wizard can approach this sacred experience. Even incense burners and prayers from all over the world cannot match them. I love it, love it, love it. A sharp pain brought me back to reality. The prison warden's claw-like fingers penetrated deeply into the muscles of my neck, forcing my chin to open inch by inch. The young servant was dragged away and still fascinated by something unknown. No, 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 no. New students. I swallowed my saliva because the pain turned my vision white. I stopped moving. This is simply too much. You need to lick the wound with your tongue. Do it now. With my tongue, I managed to clear the precious nectar flowing from the young man's skin, even if the trickle stopped. I don't waste a single drop. In the end, Ogtai pulled him further away and he collapsed groggily against the wall. His expression was satisfied, to his surprise. However, I did not. I need more. Far from enough. Ah ah ah. I screamed. Ogtai's hand did not loosen. His other hand, now free, locked my arm behind my back. I arched my body to prevent the pain from becoming too much. I hardly struggled against his control. My sense of frustration cannot match the prospect of sustained pain and dislocation. The terrible desire eventually weakened. It retreated to the depths of my mind like an alert tiger, calmed but not disappeared. I am myself again. Wait, what just happened? I can't remember. Things related to nourishment. Ogtai pushed me away and I fell onto the bed. With a scream and a somersault, I stood up again. I am not so pure, I don't understand the meaning of being with a man in a bedroom, and the guards make me wary. Fortunately, my concerns this time were unnecessary. Ogtai bent down to examine the servant's condition, I suppose so. Obviously satisfied, he stood up and asked me to follow him. We left the room, and I tried my best to keep up with this tall stranger. Drowsiness once again made my limbs heavy, my thoughts tired, yet I refused to submit. We descended back to what I thought was the ground floor and soon arrived at a thick door made of wood essence that I didn't know. Ogtai easily opened a door and pushed me inside. I found myself in a training room, without a doubt. This is a very spacious rectangle surrounded by an unmodified grey stone wall. On my left is the weapon rack, on my right is the target, and the distant wall is covered with benches. I was surprised to find that the ground was covered with stones and a layer of sand, which reminded me of an illustration of an ancient Roman Colosseum that I had seen in a book. Oh, if a lion and a gladiator walked in, accompanied by the sound of brass horns, I wouldn't even blink. Apart from us, there was only one woman on site with her hair combed into a bun. I can't decide whether she's shocked or left a deep impression on me. Her face is quite handsome, not beautiful, as unfortunately her chin is a bit square. However, she exudes a gentle and elegant temperament, which can only be enhanced by her fitted leather armor. Her appearance made me question my rationality again. I know Napoleon's breastplate cavalry would wear steel breastplates to participate in battles, but she looked more like a poacher than a soldier, and the gentle gender shouldn't dress up like this, it's just inappropriate. Chapter 4 Attendants. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Before we approached, she ignored us. She frowned, inserted the knife she had been cleaning into the scabbard, and then turned around. Her indifferent aura is as strong as Ogtai's, but more refined. I believe she is one of them, and what I mean is that I believe this is the source of her confidence. Is she from Amazon? Can she stand here fearlessly in front of that man? I guess I have encountered some terrible accidents, and now I am controlled by some powerful potion, causing me to hallucinate. Attendant. Attendant, she replied with a sneer. Ogtai's twisted face flashed with a hint of anger and quickly hid. You need to guide this new student, and her master will be handling important affairs of the conference. What kind of owner would bring a new student here? She is so flawed that she cannot be left alone. You can express your concerns to Lord Nirari. I believe he will be happy to hear your objections, attendant. The order has been issued. I bid you farewell. After speaking, Ogtai turned around and left the two of us. I held some hope that this person would feel pity for my situation, but these expectations were soon shattered. The disgust on her face reminded me of Mrs. Moore's face, but her face was filled with anger. I instinctively took a step back. A sense of danger made my fatigue disappear, and I realized that the guard cleverly arranged the stage to ensure that I couldn't find any opportunities for friends here. I still don't understand what is happening. My mind is almost useless. I am a woman playing a complex card game that I have never learned the rules before, and I am even prohibited from seeking help. The woman seemed determined to accept the situation and gestured for me to walk with her to the side of a shelf. I gazed at rows of medieval weapons, including some from barbarian kingdoms, one of which was just a chain with a knife at the end. I couldn't imagine how that could be a wise weapon. We all stopped and she looked at me expectantly. I don't know what to do. Does she want me to choose a weapon myself? Hello. I feel a rising panic in my chest. In order not to provoke this shrew, I desperately searched for something to protect myself, and I found it. I grabbed it and placed it protectively in front of me. That's a shield. I nodded in agreement. Obviously, that's the case. Are you provoking me, freshman? Can you speak? Yes, I'm sorry, I can speak. I didn't mean to provoke you. So, tell me, what can you wave? I can't remember too much, but I do know my father. Yes, my father. I can't even recall his face and will never allow me to learn swordsmanship. Waving a sword doesn't look like a lady. Louisiana has become a dumping ground for French debtors, prostitutes and villains. We landowners don't need to behave like savages. That being said, I did indeed hunt for fur and meat, and the escaped slaves were enough for me to leave the estate without weapons, which was a foolish attempt. I'm good at shooting with a flint gun, but The woman's face was filled with anger. She grabbed my collar and threw me towards the other side of the room in one go. My thoughts were blank. The world is spinning and twisting before my eyes. I landed on my shoulder in pain, still sliding on the ground. In the end, I stopped next to a machine. 1 second later, I heard the sound of my shield hitting the distant wall. The pain makes it difficult for me to breathe. I can't think. Pain. I don't know how much time it took me to cry and bend here. Everything hurts, I'm so tired, I'm still thirsty. Why? Something cold is piercing my ribs in pain. I opened one eye and saw the evil old woman looking down at me. She used a blunt sword as a tongs. Oh, why is she so cruel? Alright, freshman, let me see you shoot. What are you waiting for? Then she stabbed me. The tip of the sword pierced into my chest, not deadly enough, but painful enough. This new pain exacerbated the old pain, and I fell into a desperate situation. I can no longer tolerate all of this. Their cruel games, meaningless attacks, and cold attitudes. I didn't come here, I was mocked and humiliated in every corner. Being abused. Suffering torture. For what? What evil game are they all playing, and they don't think I deserve to know the rules. I just want to end everything, I just want to die. Dad, please come and rescue me. I can't take it anymore. So, I cried loudly like a baby. Weeping tore through my body, tears streaming down my cheeks. I waited for the fully armed demon to continue abusing me, crying, but it didn't happen. He gently picked me up with both hands and placed me next to the foolish model person. I closed my eyes out of fear. A finger lightly touched my chin and lifted my face. A few seconds later, I mustered the courage to open my eyes. That woman's face is very close to mine. She stared at my cheeks in surprise. New student, I have a request. Can I lick your tears? What are you? Is this woman completely insane? This request is completely meaningless. However, a strong and pure desire suddenly appeared on her face, which made me gasp for breath. Please. Please, I beg you. My intuition tells me that she is telling the truth, even though it seems unbelievable. Everything is too surreal, leaving me at a loss. Is the person who threw me back and forth the same person? I must make a decision, even though it goes against my judgment, I agree. I closed my eyes and she slowly approached. A chill slid over my skin, and I forced myself not to scream. This new feeling is so peculiar and intimate that I dare not move. The cold tongue swam on my cheeks. Immediately, I heard a gasp and a sob. I opened my eyes again and witnessed a scene that went against common sense. That woman, whose previous posture was so perfect, now sobs in front of me. A pink color applied to her cheeks, and I watched as she slowly collapsed. A protective impulse from my left hand pressed against her head. I patted with soothing gestures. Her black curly hair is the softest thing I have ever touched. At first, she was nervous, but soon she approached my gesture and we stayed quietly there. My pain quickly dissipated. Am I injured? No, maybe not. I let go of my arm. This feels so wonderful. I believe I may be going to sleep now. I blinked my eyes. The female warrior looked at me with her usual cold expression. Did I have a dream? Definitely not. Why, her cheeks are still so rosy. New students. I swallowed my saliva and was extremely scared. Do you know who I am? I shook my head, afraid of triggering her meaningless anger again. I am Meina, a servant of the Cadi's family and also the supply officer of this castle. Can you understand what I'm saying? You are Meina. She sighed and pinched the bridge of her nose. How old are you? I am 19 years old. She frowned. I haven't heard of Lord Nirari having a new student before, especially one who can speak. So what did he teach you? Who? Lord Nirari, your master. I don't know that person. What do you mean? You're his, I saw your sharp teeth. I silently stared at this woman. Canine teeth. Master. I am dealing with a lunatic. Unless. No. Meina looked at me with complete distrust. Have you recently met a tall man with brown eyes and brown hair? Dark and majestic. And very handsome, I replied in a dreamy voice. Yes, he told me to call him Master. Is his name Nirari? Yes, when exactly did you first see him? Oh, just this morning, in my cell. Meina looks increasingly uneasy, and I still can't be sure if it's me going crazy or her. At least I know the name of my killer. My master. Nirari. This is such an exotic name. Perhaps one day it will also become my name. New students. I need you to tell me the truth. Oh, I will. The master told me to obey you in everything. I understand. So, please tell me, was your earliest memory in that cell? Yes. Oh, my goodness. I coughed and my throat suddenly blocked. Meina frowned sympathetically. Yes. I woke up yesterday. Or at least I think it was yesterday. It's difficult to judge the passage of time without the sun or a clock. Yesterday. Yesterday. Yes. Do you feel like your thinking is failing, as if your memories are hidden by a veil? Yes. Finally, someone can understand my predicament. Oh, I really want to cry and feel so relieved. However, Meina just stood there and began to pace. Is this a certain disease? Yes. Yes, yes. You will also notice pale, sharp nails. And longing. Will it get better? Meina stopped pacing and gazed into the distance. No, not really. I patiently await her detailed explanation. I can learn more about my situation from her as long as I don't provoke her anymore. I hope she can hurry up, because I find myself increasingly eager to return to my bedroom. Maybe I can find something to drink there. What's your name, remember? Yes, Ariana. Nice to meet you, Ariana. Has Lord Nilari mentioned a ceremony? He said that if I behave well, I can absorb his essence and live on in 3 days. Meina muttered to herself, and unfortunately, I heard what she said. This woman can curse like a sailor. Okay, young Ariana, you find yourself in a delicate situation. However, you have given me something very precious that can only be given and cannot be taken away. Strong emotions are such precious things. I am grateful for this and will work hard to help you. She helped me up. You have been affected, yes, I'm sorry to say there is no treatment available. What? I've never heard of this kind of disease. Is that why I'm being detained here? Indeed. You can see your mental veil as an anesthetic that protects it during the transition period. But I don't want to. Shoo, she said, this is a terrible thing, I know, but you are still Ariana. Always remember, you are still your own. Yes, I'm Ariana. I'm my own. I walked forward unsteadily. Ah, you must be very tired. Rest on my shoulder and let me guide you to a room. Chapter 5. False Shelters. You are listening at novelfull.audio. My best friend supported me as we strolled through the streets of New Orleans. The sun has climbed over the horizon, and the dying light has dyed the pebbles red. How bold of us, 2 young women, to go out without a companion. It's great of you to come, my dear. I never dare to be alone. Don't worry, Constance. I also have a good reason to attend this dance. It is said that Mrs. Lemoyne has opened a brewery in Haiti and has a keen eye for business. Tonight she is there, it's really a lucky opportunity, and I don't want to miss it. My blonde hair brushed over my shoulders, and I found myself staring into a pair of smiling chestnut eyes. Ah, poor Ariana, do you always care about business? You should be careful to find a husband, and he can open the brewery you long for, and we can spend our days in happiness. Shoo. A promiscuous woman, you can't tempt me. Moreover, men are untrustworthy. Even Dad said so. Ah, dear friend, your father is not here tonight, and I truly understand now that I need to find some more mature suitors for you. What do you mean? Ha ha ha, don't worry, friend, look. There's a new competitor here. I followed my best friend's guidance and looked towards the entrance of the mansion, but I was so scared that I retreated. Standing in front of the 2 doors is a monster from the most terrifying legend. It is taller than anyone, its skin is pale like the moon, and its whole body is bare without any hair. The color of my eyes is as deep as an abyss, piercing straight into my soul. I wanted to run, tried to run, but I was paralyzed. My best friend tightly holds onto my arm. There is a deep scar on her beautiful face, and her eyes sparkle with madness. Don't leave, he is the person who came for you. A perfect match for those who are trying to surpass their own status. I can't move, I can't even blink. I was forced to watch the monster approach. It grabbed my head and exposed my throat. The last thing I saw were 8 ruthless fangs. I woke up in a bedroom that was not my own. Memories slowly returned to my mind, and I found myself in chaos. I now have hope of finding an ally in Meina, but I can almost guarantee that what she said is true. I am indeed influenced by some unknown situation. This realization almost crushed my spirit. For a while, I sat under a velvet canopy, stunned and motionless. However, this state did not persist because Meina ordered me to join her, and I must obey. I stand up and get ready. The ill-fitting dress I wore yesterday still fits tightly against me. Some blood droplets stained before and after, but I don't remember being injured. Strange. This specific guest room is similar to the previous one, so I quickly took another shower while ensuring the door was locked. Although I am extremely thirsty, I try my best not to immerse myself in the feeling of warm water on my skin. After drying my body, I found someone left a strange gray outfit at the entrance. I put it on. What surprised me was that it was very comfortable, with the only exception being that it was a bit too tight around my ahem area. However, it does not limit my scope of activities in any way. What a great discovery. Oh, it would be great if I could wear this in polite social situations, but it has pants, which doesn't work. When I tried to organize my hair into a ball, difficulties arose. There are no mirrors around. I wonder, how can a woman show her best side without a mirror? The morph people. Oh. She may have servants or something like that. Fortunately, my hair easily separates under my claws, and I believe I look decent at least. In short, they don't expect me to appear in polite social situations either. After everything was done, I left. Fortunately, I quickly found the training room. I went down the stairs and wandered around until I found the 2 doors. During this period, I only met a maid who avoided my gaze and hurried by. She has a charming scent, but I didn't let it distract my attention. After all, I am popular. I just hope Meina has some drinks, this thirst is killing me. I found her at a table, cleaning up a delicate fencing sword. Next to her was a short and chubby woman wearing a peasant uniform. She has short hair and a pair of frowning black eyes, staring at me with worried eyes. As I approached, I realized that she emitted a divine aura. Oh, I really couldn't extricate myself. Meina put her hand on my shoulder and stopped me. Oh, I'm sorry, where is my politeness? Good morning, Meina. You too, madam. It's morning now, isn't it? Meina responded to my greeting with a nod and a smile. Not entirely. This is Ainsa, she is a vassal of the Cadi's family. Oh, hello, Ainsa. This woman did not answer. On the contrary, she nervously swallowed her saliva, while I was attracted by her neck movements. Such a beautiful neck, so touching. Aryan. I need your attention. Look at me. I turned my head and realized that she was closer than I had imagined. She held my hand. Her skin is soft and cool. Do you want to get close to Ainsa? Yes. Do you feel thirsty? Yes, very thirsty. It's almost unbearable. Close your eyes. Great. Now, I want you to imagine a place you feel safe. The safest place you know. But I don't remember my past. You can't remember your thoughts, but your heart can. Do you still remember what I told you yesterday? I am mine. I will always be mine. Great. Let your heart speak, Aryan. You're safe. You can see around you. What do you see? I don't know. I'm too thirsty. I just need to. No. Stop. Great. Because you crave it, it will be more effective. Now, try again. At first, I thought the entire exercise was foolish. Hi, it feels like those useless meditation exercises claimed by these martial artists to cure blindness. However, Meina did not relax. She guided me with a soothing voice. When my thirst became unbearable, she tightly grasped my neck, which helped me stay calm. In the end, I felt it. On the edge of the sugarcane field stands a wooden house. It is almost only enough to accommodate a single bed, a box, and a small fire pit. It has never been used for habitation. It is just a simple shelter without decoration or polishing. The only important thing is that it is safe. I dragged myself onto the straw bed. It smells like soap and sunshine here, and I know I can wait here for him to come back. A refreshing breeze blew the trees outside and brought in the scent of fresh soil and rainwater. The weather is improving now, and he will be back soon. I hope he can bring me something to drink. During this period, I will only hold on to Mr. Grumpy Bear tightly. Mr. Sloppy Bear is such a gentleman. Very good. Now, doesn't it smell good? Yes. Great, now lick it. I licked some delicious things. That must be the best sandwich chocolate in the world. Someone let out a joyful moan, and I knew I should be shocked, but I remained indifferent. Great, it will turn pain into pleasure. Now, just follow your instincts. I gently bit it down. Soft and warm things parted under my teeth, like the sweetest fruit, the sweet nectar once again satisfied my thirst. Intoxicated. Great, great. However, it felt a bit dull for some reason. It cannot be compared to before. There is a layer of isolation between this feeling and me. I am enjoying myself, but a part of me is also sitting on the bed of my small cabin, with Mr. Sloppy Bear. Slow down and listen. I mainly heard two things. The first is a woman making the most shameful moan. I'm not too naive to understand her. I can't even make myself complete this idea. The second one is a heartbeat, and its beating speed is getting faster and faster. The heartbeat is too fast. When it's like this, you must stop. Stop now. I stopped immediately. Thirst has eased to a point where it is no longer as urgent. I also remember my master's instructions. I must obey Meina in everything. Great. Now lick the wound clean. I followed suit. A strong sense of closeness surged in my heart, and if it weren't for my strange state, I think I might feel shy. After a moment, I opened my eyes. Meina was holding Ainsa like a princess. I dare not mention how inappropriate all of this is, let alone Ainsa's rosy cheeks. If someone comes in now, I will definitely be ashamed to death. Arian. Yes. Do you know what happened just now? Well, you asked me to find a safe place, I found it, and then. I frowned and felt confused. And then what happened? I don't seem to remember. I don't remember. Is this despicable torture? Yes. Don't worry, the next time you see your master, the veil of your soul will be lifted, at least that's what he said. Oh, this time can't be any faster. I replied in a dreamy voice. Before I made myself more embarrassed, Meina turned around with a sad smile. You shouldn't be too anxious. Not all knowledge is worth acquiring. I'm not good at this. Stay here, I'll take Ainsa to a safe place. While waiting, I hope you remember the safe place you found. When you feel thirsty, or when you satisfy your thirst, you may find it again. This is important to Arian. If you have to remember something, remember it. I understand. Very good. Meina left, and I stayed alone. Even though I should have woken up for less than an hour, I already felt a drowsy call. To distract my attention, I checked the scarecrow used for training. When I realized that some of them were robots, I was simply stunned. How wealthy could those aristocratic couples be to afford such complex machinery to complete such trivial tasks? I can only speculate that they come from Europe, as duels are still a way to resolve disputes between nobles. My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of the door opening and closing behind me. I turned around from the examination, ready to welcome Meina back, but shrank in surprise. Surprisingly, there are two people standing just a few steps away from me, and I have never seen them before. How could they have approached so quickly? This is impossible. Unless I blinked. What am I thinking? Well, it doesn't matter. There are people in front of me, and I haven't said hello to them yet. I curtsied, even though I wasn't wearing a skirt. The master told me to stop running, and that's what I did. Then, I waited. The woman on the left is wearing a rich cream-colored robe, with green eyes and stunning red hair. She is very beautiful, and her temperament and posture remind me of Mrs. Moore. At least the young Mrs. Moore. Perhaps it's a relative. The black-haired man on the right is wearing a mixed cream jacket that has been out of style for a century, but I will never blame him for it. He has a deep sunken chin and a handsome face, and it is natural for him to perform Shakespeare's plays in the most luxurious theatre in London. Although his temperament is relatively plain, he is similar to his partner. She sneered, while he seemed to be the most dull victim. His blue eyes almost immediately looked down on me. I didn't learn how to detect trouble when I was 19 years old. No matter what they want, I must delay until Meina comes back without causing their anger. Therefore, I remain silent. Time is advantageous for me, and newcomers also know. The woman's sneer turned into a burst of anger, and I won the first round. Let's take a look at the latest products. Tell me, products, can you speak? Meina, no matter where you are, come back quickly. Are you referring to me? Obviously. In this poor dilapidated house, who else can you see besides the product? Chapter 6. Difficult Times. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I must find a balance between aggression and negativity. Too gentle, she will upgrade. Too clever, she will retaliate. I allowed the silence to last as long as possible before continuing. In case you're still waiting for the answer, yes, I can speak. Does that surprise you? Yes. Lord Nirari rarely chooses wit. He prefers other traits. Why does everyone think I'm a fool? Although he may be an exception this time, she said, scrutinizing me critically. The man's head turned towards the door and he issued a warning. Maluxin. She continued without fear. Why do you think so? You have all the barking, but no taste. I couldn't help but laugh, ha ha ha. Damn it. How dare you? She is just waiting for an excuse. She moved, I can see it. There was a lingering feeling of good dreams in my blood, so I also moved. I reached out to grab her backhand and managed to grab her fist. This is a bad idea. Her movements are not fast, but the power behind her fists is incredible. I was bounced off, as if I had no weight at all. Coincidentally, I managed to roll on the ground without hurting myself too much. Her power is truly extraordinary. If her backhand hits, I have to collect my teeth from the farthest door. Such a delicate girl. Wait, what am I thinking? I don't know, but I know I am in danger. I muttered and got up to kneel on the ground. I stood between two automatic robots for some reason. There's not much time, Marishin, the man said, one stay calm as always. Melusin walked towards me, with a sign of pain on her face. Their urgency must be because Meina is coming back soon, so I just need to delay for a few minutes. However, I am already exhausted. This illness has weakened my strength. My limbs are heavier than a minute ago. I will not be able to fight against her. I will not be able to escape. In despair, I did something that could only be attributed to my confused mind. I grabbed the side of the nearest robot and pulled its lever. In the best-case scenario, I expect this scarecrow to spin and buy me some time. However, something incredible happened. A complex mark flashed through the chest of the robot, submerged in deep red. It trembled as it walked down from the wooden support, then stretched out four arms ending in vicious blades. Its eyeless head found the nearest moving target, Melusin. I was stunned and unable to move. Witchcraft. The most evil witchcraft. I hardly noticed the man pulling his surprised companion behind him, as a voice roared loudly throughout the room. Stop. Meina walked in with a lion-like confidence. Her gaze found the scarecrow, moved forward for some reason, and then stopped on Marishin, revealing a humorous sneer. It's really nice to see the Lancaster family trying to make up for their poor martial arts skills. Nevertheless, you could have asked me instead of wandering around the training ground like a mouse. Be careful when speaking, attendant. I jumped up in surprise and the two doors closed without any obvious intervention. You should listen to your own suggestions. As Meina walked towards the two outsiders, the room fell into a heavy silence. Before she could walk up to them, the man took a step and formally bowed. Meina, it seems like we made a mistake coming here. Perhaps you're willing to open the door. Meina stopped to think for a while. Don't disturb this new student while I'm taking care of her. Okay. Is that all? After all this, can they be free to leave? We should cut off their knees and let them crawl on the remaining limbs. No, this is a completely reasonable outcome for this farce, and I am glad to see them leave. They left silently. I think I should start training you to protect yourself, the woman sighed as the door closed. To be frank, Meina, I don't think so, I respectfully retorted. I need to understand who those people are and the reasons for their hostility. Why didn't Augustus guide you to attack me when we first met? Meina was slightly surprised. You're right, young Aryan. Ah, but I'm not good at this. Where should I start? You can start by telling me why I am a new student and you are a servant, and why Mrs. Mort despises me so much. Meina stopped to think and quickly nodded in agreement. Okay, but please remember, I will deliberately keep it vague to prevent your mind from confusing some information. I assume that I will not be able to learn more about this disease until I see my master again. Indeed. Now, let's start. The newly transformed. Infected individuals are initially unconscious. They are ignorant and pitiful creatures that only respond to their master's voices. Most people can only maintain that sad state for a few weeks at most. Others can never surpass it. I feel nauseous, what a terrible fate it is. When these unconscious individuals gradually regain some self-awareness, they will accept, their master's help, and then become new, just like you. New people are actually young infected individuals. Meina, dear, aren't you mistaken? I haven't received the help you mentioned yet. Am I still an unconscious person? Yes, not really. People who rebuild some self-awareness are always seen as new. Receiving help is just a form. If no, Aryan, don't think about it. When the time is right, your master will help you. He made me behave like. And I haven't yielded to the Lancaster family. Don't worry, Aryan. Thank you, Meina. She responded to me with a rare smile. Ah, this is a refreshing young lady, but let's continue. Once a newborn is seen as an adult, after a few decades, has Meina almost said, decades. I must have misunderstood. I don't want to wait until my hair turns gray to be relieved. However, this is not important. Once I can, I will go home. They became members of the court. This title was obtained through the elegance of their family and was widely recognized by others. The previous two, Marishan and Lambert, were members of the court. Those who control their own illnesses become masters. Masters do not need recognition from their families. Their position is obvious. The master who controls territory is often referred to as a lord. Above them are the family monarchs and their parliament, which we will discuss later. Where are the attendants? Ah, yes. The knights are the military power of the family. They receive training and deployment from another order and enjoy a certain degree of autonomy. The attendants are knights who are undergoing knightly training and being expelled. Meina looked at me expectantly. I can feel that this is a test of my personality. I have only known this woman for 2 days, but I can already feel that she is very honest and straightforward, maybe a bit too direct. When Ogtai, later Melucci, called you a servant, they deliberately provoked you, right? Yes. They deliberately made me angry, but I fell for it. She took a step forward, but I retreated. My reaction hurt her, I can feel it. Meina, I'm sorry, Don't apologize, Aryan. I did it to you yesterday. I can only blame myself for making you feel scared. Now I will explain how dangerous your situation is. Where should we start? We are now in Louisiana. At least I haven't been sent to any corner of this world. This region has changed hands multiple times. Therefore, there are now some people living here. The primitive Chitimacha, Jokto, and Kusata people, French and Canadian French, Spanish, Africans, and now Anglo people. Usually, families do not mix, and these unique situations require some degree of adjustment. You see, the family has a strong sense of territory. I almost sneer at it. Why are there so many races of people still here, and why are barbarians and slaves involved in decision-making? Unbelievable. The families living here gather together to negotiate the scope of influence. There should have been 4 families. Cadiz in Spain, Lancaster in England, Roland in France, and the Egon family in the Gulf of Guinea. Do you include slaves too? I sneered. Jimena's expression flashed with something. Ah, yes, I forgot to mention it. Infected people don't care about each other's skin colors. You better remember that. Oh. This is too. Avant-garde. You will understand why, it's not yet time. Currently, I hope you respect others regardless of their race and gender. This is for your own good. I understand Jimena. I will do as she says, I must obey her in everything. The problem lies with your master. Lord Nirari is like your sponsor. Anyway, you are related to him. Jimena led me to a comfortable bench and held my hand. I am deeply moved by the actions of this woman from Amazon. Lord Nirari is somewhat like a ruler of a family. He is somewhat rogue, and his arrival was unexpected. Nevertheless, he received the highest treatment. You see, insulting him was seen as a strange act of suicide. My surprised expression can definitely reflect it, because Jimena decided to explain a little more. Your master is a member of an ancient civilization. He believes that the rules of hospitality are sacred, but every insult is met with ruthless retaliation. He is universally feared and hated, and his reputation will also affect you. What? I interrupted her, feeling indignant. What a kind soul he is. He is a polite gentleman. How dare they slander him like this? Jimena did not interrupt my roar, on the contrary, she looked at me with pity. How I wish I could persuade her. Nevertheless, his reputation was established and he was known for not caring about the fate of his disciples. Jimena, I'm confused. Does he have a family? Do I? He, was only known as a devourer, and as far as I know, only one of his derivatives is still alive besides you. You are the 3rd member of his bloodline. What? I'm sorry, Aryan. Your genetics will always be known, and the victims of Lord Nirari are very special. Her attention shifted to my mouth. I don't understand. This makes no sense. You will understand, and the time will tell you. I'm sorry. I am too surprised to answer. All of this is meaningless. A mysterious disease. Family and politics. A family of only 3 people. Jimena, please tell me the truth. Am I crazy? Is this a madhouse where lunatics live in madness? Aryan, believe me, you're not crazy. I'm not crazy. For you, this is a difficult period, but if you have perseverance and demonstrate better political acumen than me, I believe you will succeed. Success. I don't want to succeed. I want to go home. I just want to go home. I tried to hold back, but despite my best efforts, I started crying. Alien. Yes. Can I take a sip of your tears? I won't be surprised no matter how crazy things happen in this insane asylum. I nodded and then screamed as Jimena pulled me into her arms. Before I realized it, she licked my cheek. How bold. We stay there. I would have been dissatisfied with her intimacy, but I realized that I owe her too much. If what she said is true, I have no reason to doubt her words, then my master is somewhat like a marginalized figure in society. Our acquaintance will bring a stain to her reputation. Her honesty and loyalty are sacrificing her, but she has protected me. I can only be grateful for meeting her. For an infected person, you cry a lot. Oh, shush. Feeling so comfortable in her embrace. I was already very tired before confronting that terrible woman, and now my whole body feels so heavy. I believe I will take a little nap. Just a few minutes. Chapter 7. The Seeds of Disharmony. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The final harmony of the hymn rippled among the benches and numerous worshippers. Mass has now entered its heyday, and I can feel that I am a part of something great, because people from all over unite for a purpose. I took a deep breath. The church was filled with the smell of dust and incense, as well as a unique combination of perfume and sweat brought by human beings. The morning light kissed the little skin I showed. After all, I'm wearing the best Sunday clothes. Although vanity may be a sin, I really like the blue dress I'm wearing. It suits me very well. Dad stood next to me, and I could feel him watching others, acting as my guard. Those young men who are staring at me will be noticed and he will tell me. Those who stare too much will be blamed in the future. A kind old man wearing a black robe of a Catholic priest walked up to us. His sincere smile made my mood more relaxed. Father Ammon's preaching is always so wise and to the point, far better than that priest from Mobile. That man is really an annoying ghost, always shouting loudly about immortality and witches. Welcome, everyone, welcome to Massachusetts. I'm glad to see you all today. As Easter approaches, I was planning to talk about the dangers of overeating and excessive indulgence. Alas, unfortunately, I received a meat pie from Mrs. Canterbury yesterday, and you all know how much I hate hypocrisy. I smiled like most people present. Therefore, I'm afraid I have to talk about some more unpleasant things. I noticed some conflicts with Mr. Sutton's parish members recently. Regarding religious issues. The atmosphere became severe. Well, I can hardly blame you for feeling confused. I remember being a loyal subject of King Louis XV, going out to hunt a detestable golden lotus, and returning as a Spaniard. We smiled again, and the old priest played with us, but I didn't really care, he is a good person. I'll go make some tea, and then I'm French again, thank you very much. The Spanish members of the church laughed even more happily, possibly due to Father Ammon's poor pronunciation. Now we have been betrayed by Napoleon himself to the United States of America. Oh, no wonder we are all confused. I have more flags than shirts now, and I have considered turning one into another. Hee hee. Yes. So our parish now houses a considerable number of Protestants. When mentioning those heretics, there are more murmurs. However, I ask you this. When Jesus debated with the Pharisees or Sadducees, did he hit their faces? Did he throw feces at their women? The murmur disappeared in an instant, and many people's faces turned red, feeling ashamed. No, he didn't, because he knew that everyone should have the opportunity to hear God's words. We must all remember that we are Christians, not because we oppose anyone, but because we love someone. I will no longer tolerate such behavior. On the contrary, you will love your neighbors, as commanded by the Bible, because Protestants are not your enemies, they are just people who have taken a different path. No, the real enemy is worshipping evil like Ariana, the devil's slut. What? You moan and wriggle in front of the beast, like a lewd woman. He took you away on the first night, and you enjoy every second. It's not Sodom or Gomorrah who has witnessed such shameful debauchery. What? No. You're wrong. Dad. Tell them. I should have drowned you in the beginning. Look at what you've become. You can't even stand up. My now blood-stained robe emitted thick smoke, with flames following closely behind. I tried to escape, but I was blindfolded. I bumped into a wooden bench and the area I touched hurt my hand. It hurts very badly. I rolled on the ground, screaming in pain. A burst of angry whispers echoed around me, and the crowd in the church watched me die. "Come on, bitch, this should be helpful." Father Ammon threw water at me, but it didn't stop the flames. I disappeared in a blue light and a piercing scream. I opened my eyes and saw the green sheets and a bed pillar made of a red wood that I had never seen before. Another day, another room, I remember it's not home. I only have a few minutes of clarity and calmness at most. Desire. I don't know much about this condition. I feel like every time I hear more information, thoughts disappear from my mind like a filter. Meina told me that everything will become clear when I see him again tomorrow, and I hope so. Maintaining such hallucinations for a long time is definitely unhealthy. I followed my new morning ritual and my desire grew stronger. This is a strange feeling. Thirst is not limited to the throat and mouth. It uses its eager claws to penetrate deep into my chest, stomach, and mind. Every thread of my thoughts is disrupted, and once my feet are distracted, they will automatically walk towards the door. No, this cannot continue. I found another set of gray clothes, the same as yesterday. It's still very tight, especially at the hips, and I guess I'm wearing one of Meina's spare clothes. I just finished when someone knocked on my door. When I walked towards the door to unlock it, I stopped. What if it weren't my temporary mentor, but the shrew from Lancaster and her running dog? They promised not to bother me again. But I don't think they are the kind of people who are trustworthy, and it's not just them who pose a threat to me. At that moment, I noticed a small glass window on the door, no larger than the size of a fingernail. I can see the people outside clearly through it. This must be some kind of magnifying glass, or a short telescope, right? I used to think that having flowing water in every room was a luxury, until now. I wouldn't be surprised if their bathrooms were all set with diamonds. Speaking of the bathroom, why didn't I? What am I thinking? The sound of knocking on the door again, this time even more resolute, awakened me from contemplation. I unlocked the door to welcome Meina. "Please forgive me, dear friend. My mind is in a mess, and I sincerely hope you brought something to drink. My mouth is dry." "Good day to you too, Arian," she replied with a smile. "This is Ricardo, another attendant of the Cotty's family," she said, and it was only then that I noticed there was another man. He dressed appropriately but plainly. He is tall, with brown eyes and curly brown hair, and looks at me not unfriendly. I greeted politely, and he also responded. "I'm late, miss." Meina asked me to let the two of them in, and I think since Meina can be seen as a guardian, this is also acceptable. Afterwards, there were some meditations, and when we left, Ricardo stayed behind. I feel refreshed and my thirst has disappeared. Lord Theron has requested that you go. He is the local head of the Cotty's family, and we should go see him now. What? Meina, you must be joking. This outfit. I dare not criticize too much because she generously gave me this outfit, but wearing pants is really not suitable, especially those that, are very tight on the hips. Meina noticed my discomfort and responded to my concerns with a smile of understanding. "Don't worry, young man. Gray is the color of the Knight's Order, and wearing it means keeping a distance from the court. You are claiming neutrality in justice, which will only benefit you." I silently pondered over her words. "You surprised me, Meina, this is a thoughtful statement. Well, I'm not blind to the political changes of infected individuals. Recent events have forced me to reassess my priorities. I suspected it was related to her loss of favor, so I cleverly avoided asking. Soon, we arrived at the edge of many apartments, and there was another door. It seems that each floor has a square separate living area, surrounded by waiting rooms where visitors gather on all sides. How many floors does this building have? Why doesn't it have windows? I asked. There are only 5 floors, if we count the basement as one floor. Nevertheless, you only see one wing of this fortress, and there are more places on this floor that you have not yet visited. As for the lack of windows, this is for safety reasons. You will. Yes, I will understand at the appropriate time. She opened a large bedroom door. Comfortable seats were divided into groups, and other infected individuals dressed in fancy clothes gathered there. We ignored them and came to another door. Meina knocked on the door and entered without waiting for a response. We entered a fairly spacious front hall. The furniture and decorations are the same as all the Baroque styles I saw after leaving the dungeon. This place is designed to stay, not live. An oak box was placed in a corner, making me believe that the only resident of this place, like me, was here as a guest, although he may have volunteered. Chapter 8. Disciples. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A man sits in front of a desk facing the entrance. He calmly put down his pen and stood up to welcome us. Without a doubt, he is on the same level as Mrs. Moore. His breath oppresses my mind, although lacking in complexity, his figure gives a sense of solidity. The lord of the Cotty's family has blue eyes like cornflowers, just like myself, and black curly hair extending onto his sturdy shoulders. His facial features are both masculine and elegant, coupled with a rogue-style beard and mustache. Oh my, he must have come out of some pirate story, ready to plunder and plunder. However, I am pleased to find that his gaze is cautious rather than overly hostile. When he came to us, I bent my knees and bowed, partly to conceal my surprise. This person's muscles are beyond my imagination. I don't think Ogtai is a big deal in front of him. He might be able to bend the metal with his hands. Are all members of the Cotty's family so focused on physical fitness? Get up. I still silently cooperated, letting this man scrutinize me. Hello, Ariana. I am Lord Theron from the Cotty's family. Welcome to my humble abode. I am honored, Lord Theron. The man turned to Meina with a bitter smile on his lips. As you said, the attendant. In his words, the title, attendant, became a compliment to past achievements rather than an insult, and I could feel that Meina was grateful for it. Tell me, Ariana, has my supply officer explained the situation to you? She told me about the unexpected arrival of the council and my master. I understand. Did she explain your role clearly in it? My character. Lord Theron chuckled lightly. Undoubtedly, it's our Meina. I bet her first suggestion is to put a knife in your hand. Meina let out a playful hiss, playfully crossing her arms under his teasing reproach. Lord Nirari always keeps his word and adheres to certain rules, but he is indeed notorious in other aspects. You sound like he committed atrocities, but I believe if such a thing had happened, I would have heard about it in the news long ago. He looks almost under 40 years old. Lord Theron's gaze flickered over Meina before continuing. Young Ariana, you will be surprised. He is much older than he looks, and he has traveled many places over the years. I think you have realized that our world is different from ordinary places. The infected person is kept confidential, and in our society, he has gained a considerable reputation, which makes his visit even more unusual. This land is remote. The people who live here did not come voluntarily, but were dispatched. A character like him who appears and promotes his existence must be pursuing something. This gathering started 3 days ago and will end tomorrow. Yes, I know Lord Nirari's promise. I assure you that no newborn cub will be left without the blessings of their master. You can look forward to this ceremony without any worries. I wasn't worried at first, but now I do feel worried. What if I don't want to? Lord Theron seemed momentarily speechless, so Meina took my hand and continued in a comforting tone. In the end, the psychological pressure on the newborn cubs will become too great, and they will become mindless puppets again. Please rest assured that unless a major disaster occurs, this will definitely not happen. Yes, Ariana, everything will be okay. I shouldn't even mention this. If possible, let's focus on the main topic and why you're here. You see, Lord Nairi requested our hospitality, and we agreed. The next night, he spent a considerable amount of time with Mrs. Moore, and we suspected that she was the reason for his appearance, or more precisely, her property. Mrs. Moore is responsible for the local ship trade of the Lancaster family, and as far as we know, she is the only person with the ability to provide him with a pass to the Middle East or any place he wants to go. Can't he arm his own ship? How could a person with such a prominent status not have gold coins? The problem is not here. Transportation across vast distances requires specific logistical support. It is easier and safer to reach an agreement with Mrs. Moore instead of creating a way of doing it yourself. I have many questions. I know, he said with a smile, I'm sorry. Now, as I mentioned, Lord Nairi is our guest, so he won't force Mrs. Moore to serve him, so he needs a chip. It's you. Me. The two members of Cadiz smiled at my angry expression. Ah, it feels great to be with such a polite person, even though I wouldn't call Lord Theron a friend. That's right. The Devourer used to. Ah, he used to have many disciples. He didn't care much about them and usually used them as tools. They are not me. As long as we get to know each other, my master has no choice but to see that I am the one who should run away for him. When needed, he trained them into psychopaths and let them go. They plundered the entire diocese recklessly until they were stopped. What? What? No, they must be wrong. This is nonsense. It is absolutely impossible for someone to be alone. I will definitely hear about it. He will never. What am I thinking? I blinked. Meina gave Lord Theron a glance and he smiled apologetically at me. Please forgive me, I forgot about myself. Anyway, you are the sword of Damocles on Mrs. Moore's head. I don't understand what's going on. Meina held my hand in her hand. I forgot how cool and soft her hands were. Believe me, what he said is true. I am the sword of Damocles hanging from Mrs. Moore's head. I understand. Great. Lord Nairi used your presence to push negotiations. Based on his distorted sense of honor, he is not limited to the damage you may cause. Lord Theron sat back and spread out his hands. There are two implications for you. The first is that here, you will be subject to strict scrutiny, and most opinions will, hold a hostile attitude. The second one is that if everything goes as we want, you will depend on the kindness of the Lancaster family, but, this is too scary. They hate me. Can you? I'm sorry to beg you like this, but can you do something? Hey, unfortunately, we can't. We can't have a legitimate reason to demand you. The best outcome for you is to serve under their command. The best outcome. You must be joking, or you underestimated their contempt. They mercilessly attacked me. Not much excitement. I would be foolish to put myself under their mercy. I replied dejectedly. This is a test of your character. Melucci and Lambert are Mrs. Moore's only capable subordinates, and they have been sent to evaluate you, while others are delaying Meina. Fortunately, they performed quite poorly and she saw through their clumsy attempts. They rarely had time to see you, which should be in your favor. Melucci would be curious and want to save your life, if there were no other reasons. They gave me some time to organize my thoughts. So, my master won't take me away. There's no chance, even though I know you'll still try. If you want to survive, you have to be prepared, and I know what to do. Tell me, Arian, what do you want? I hope this has never happened, but I know it's a wishful thinking. Meina told me to trust her, there is no cure for this disease. So, what I crave the most is I want to go home and stroll in the sugarcane fields with my friends and family in the morning sun. I want to be with any pets I don't remember. I want to open a brewery to bring wealth to my family. I want to shoot a white egret with just one arrow and then grill meat with charcoal to eat. I just want this madness to stop. I am too close to crying again, and I refuse to do so in front of the local head of the Cotties family. My passionate speech only shocked my hosts into silence. I hope they don't think I'm complaining and pitiful, but I comfort myself, I have reason to be a bit dramatic. They conveyed some unspoken information between them, and in the end, Lord Theron refocused his attention on our conversation. If going home is your most desired wish, we will do our best to give you this opportunity. However, this will be a difficult task, and you need to make it valuable to us. How selfish you are. I replied, shocked. I have an obligation to my family, one of which is to protect its members and ensure that their resources are properly utilized. You asked me to take the risk of saving a stranger. I thought I was making a personal request. This will be more than just the two of us can do. I'm sorry. I supported my head with both hands, trying to accept my situation. In the end, I calmed down and asked the Lord what his conditions were. Okay, what do you expect from me? When you're there, look for information about their business activities. Inventory, contracts, and titles, we can leverage this information. Do you want me to be a spy for you? Yes. I assure you, these bastards are not worth your loyalty. That's not the problem. Being a spy is just too unpleasant. To be precise. Believe me, after tomorrow, you will change your view on this matter. Okay, I'll do my best, even though I'm worried you might overestimate me. After some etiquette, Meina and I left Cotties' gathering place. She took me to her training ground and taught me the basics of fencing, including posture and how to grip a sword. Before falling asleep, I successfully learned something. Chapter 9. Revealing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Aunt Catherine. My dear, it's so nice to see you. I ran down the stairs and hugged her. She hugged me back, then took a step back and looked at me with a serious face and smiling eyes. Well, you're growing so fast. If you're any bigger, we'll have to trim you a bit. Not funny. I replied with a smile. I'm only 13 years old. When I turn 20, all of you will have to look up to me. I can't even surpass my dad. Don't think about it, she replied. Your appetite will bankrupt our whole family. We laughed for a while until her expression became serious. I feel very embarrassed because I am sure why she came, and she left my cousins and sisters at home, which makes me feel even more embarrassed. We need to talk, my goddaughter. This requires privacy. Shall we go to your room? Good, I want to pout and protest, but as a young woman now, I need to show patience and restraint. I led her upstairs to my room and sat on the bed, while she sat on a chair. How I wish Diana could see you now, she would be proud of you. I instantly felt sad. I'm sorry, dear, I didn't mean to make you sad. It's okay, we're all missing her. Yes, it made everything worse. I regret it for what I have to do. Dear aunt, you're exaggerating. I know discussing women's issues can be a bit subtle. It's not this, it's this. Her hand tightly grasped my throat and pressed me onto the bed. I can't breathe. I struggled, but she was older and stronger than me. My sharp nails pierced her arm, but to no avail. Red tears of regret stained her cheeks, and her mouth opened, revealing jagged teeth. Oh my goodness. I was even more panicked, but the darkness had quickly climbed into my sight. I'm sorry, dear, this is the only way. Otherwise, he will take your soul. I'm so sorry, dear. I'm so sorry. I became even crazier in my struggle. Her fingers penetrated deeply into my skin, drawing out blood until the pressure was too high. The pain became unbearable, with a terrifying popping sound, my cervical vertebrae shattered. What's wrong? What am I, who? I can't think normally, everything seems twisted and blurry. I feel an impulse to stay there and wait, but I know something is wrong. It smells like fire here. The thought of fire scared me, and an inner reaction made me stand up. I don't know what to do. No, focus, this has happened before. My name is Eileen. It's I, my own. Slowly and painfully, my heart was stitched back together, and the edges began to disintegrate. Maintaining my mind is like pinching sand, and I know what I need. I urgently need it. Thirst hit me like a huge rock. I bent down and grabbed my stomach. Oh my goodness, it hurts so much. I need it. I need it. I need it. I need it. I need to find my master. He promised then we will leave this abandoned place together. Yes. But first, I need to find him now. I picked myself up and walked to the door, carefully opening it. The first thing I smell is the smell. Wood smoke. Gunpowder. Fresh blood. Excrement. The corridor was empty, with only two motionless figures. The first one is a servant dressed in maid attire. Her hands covered a deep wound on her chest. They were painted red to the point where she looked like she was wearing crimson gloves. She has also died. Tears flowed from her half-open eyes. The other is a man wearing a black leather coat. His clothes are military uniforms, but not the uniforms I know. I didn't see any wounds on him, but he lay in his own pool of blood and was already dead. I can't feel anything. I screamed deep inside, this is not right. I have seen corpses before, but I have never seen them like this. I don't care. The man was holding a gun in his hand, a handgun with exquisite workmanship and silver embroidery. I approached and found that it had already discharged. After basic inspection, I obtained silver bullets and gunpowder horns. I reload the weapon and pull the trigger. The woman was shot. No matter who attacked this place, they would not care about unarmed women. They didn't even have pity for her, but instead chose to let her endure the agony before taking her last breath. I won't have the same fate. I didn't take this step to fall into the hands of some rude person. I need to escape the building. The smell of fire worries me. I dare not find Shermina, because if I knew this woman and she was still alive, she would become the center of the battle. Fortunately, I know where to go. We are located on one side of the fortress wing, and the exit should be on the ground level of the wing, very close to the entrance of the dungeon. I'm sure architects have a strange taste, but I'm not willing to search for hidden passages. I would rather take the risk of being locked down. My thirst is making me almost unable to hold on. I slowly descended the stairs, trying to be patient until something strange happened. This is the floor where I slept for the first time, and the door of my first room was forcibly opened. Only the entrance to the other room was damaged. Are they chasing residents? If that's the case, how do they know where to find me? I reached the ground and slowed down my pace. If the mysterious attackers are still nearby, I will find them here. Just as I was pondering this question, a few footsteps came from the nearby corridor, and I heard the unique voice of Ogtai. Incompetent, I would never agree with this. How many people do you really need to? I breathed a sigh of relief and walked out of a niche. When Ogtai appeared in sight, I carefully hid the pistol behind my back to prevent him from acting too nervous. The noisy voice responded, but I hardly paid attention until his two companions appeared in sight. They both looked like tough guys. The older side of the face had deep paw marks and hardly touched his black eyes. The second one is younger, with red hair and sharp eyes. Both of them were wearing intruders' black jackets, carrying weapons capable of causing minor conflicts, and inexplicably, they were also wearing silver crosses. We both paused in each other's sight. I immediately understood. Traitor. I turned around and was about to run away, but Ogtai moved. I will never be able to make it. And that's okay. A part of me, whom I don't know, emerged from within. I can hardly control the rest of myself, but that's already enough. I also moved. Just as his blade touched my neck, I lifted the gun and pulled the trigger. Shooting at close range, no child will miss it. Ogtai was surprised by the sight of the muzzle, and I saw his mouth forming an "oh," and it was blown away in an instant. I'm not finished yet. The two men immediately drew their guns and began firing. I grabbed Ogtai's body and used it as a shield. Two dull impacts made his chest tremble, and I rushed over. I hardly thought, there was something taking over, I let it go. I want to survive. I want to survive. So they must die. Ogtai's body flew towards the old man, who tried to dodge to the side. No effort in vain. This soldier's body is too large and the corridor is too narrow. He fell heavily. I'm so thirsty. I rushed towards the young man with red hair until a silver light made me dodge. Something flew over my shoulder. The narrow corridor is not good for me now, I am trying to avoid something else. My opponent anticipated that the third thing would pierce my arm with a piercing pain. Knife. I made a sizzling sound, barely enduring it. He's too close to me, too close. Something emitted white light, and I was bounced away by an irresistible force. Like being beaten into an insect, I bounced up on the floor. No. No, it's impossible. I am too thirsty. I need it. I need to get it from him. What? Everything is no longer meaningful. Someone mocks like a crazy woman. It's me. I stood up and grabbed a dagger. Ignoring everything else, I walked along the fresh air I smelled. The air is filled with smoke, but this is the direction of the exit. I know. I want to survive. In a daze, I left 3 corpses, passed by the bodies of servants and soldiers, and a pile of inexplicable ashes, and arrived at the scene of a battlefield. A dilapidated fence is less than 10 meters away from me, and next to it is a half-collapsed wall. I counted and found over 10 corpses scattered around, including some women and various weapons. It seems that the invaders rushed in without leaving any survivors. When I passed by this fence, their anger was revealed in front of me. The entrance to this fortress wing has been blasted open, and the walls have partially collapsed, forming a bottleneck, with the bodies of invaders scattered on the ground. Even in my state of confusion, I am still shocked by the extent of the destruction I have seen. What kind of fanatics would abandon their lives like this? What would prove such determination or hatred? I walked through the door and found some dried blood stains. It's very fresh. Someone dragged their injured soldiers away. I'm so thirsty. I stumbled forward and found myself in a hall as large as a church. The wall is naturally formed. Is this some kind of cave? In front of another set of storefronts. The cave extends to the upper left, but the ventilation comes from the right. I walked in that direction. There is no one in this place except for the outer space of the dead. A few oil lamps provide sufficient lighting for me to see clearly. This hall is empty, and its sole purpose seems to be to give people a sense of authority or fear. I cannot judge. I quickly walked to a group of huge stairs, and 2 figures came down from above. I didn't even hear their voices. The first one is a blond man with a beard, wearing a blue coat and gray eyes frowning at me. The second one surprised me and took a deep breath of air conditioning. I have seen many slaves and free people from Haiti or the mainland. In front of many white people, they always exhibit certain traits. Sometimes it's fear, sometimes it's respect, and many times it's resistance, but what they all share is that they never let their guard down. But this man is different. Wearing a beige leather suit and clearly carrying weapons, he wore a sarcastic smile on his face, indicating that he was not afraid of anyone. The bar owner and my father, he is also the tallest man I have ever seen. These 2 newcomers are followed by a pair of brown-haired twins and a black woman, respectively. They all exude the same cold atmosphere that I now attribute to the affected, with the first two men on par with Mrs. Moore and Lord Theron. I need to go up. I need to break through. Chapter 10. Fragmentation. You are listening at novelfull.audio. No, they are stronger, I cannot leave. The blond man walked towards me, and before I could react, his movements were faster than I thought, and my vision became a vast expanse of white. Ah! In an instant, I was still looking forward, and the next moment I was thrust into my stomach by 5 sharp objects. The pain was unbearable, and my control over my own thinking ultimately collapsed. That's too much. I stopped there, motionless. I don't have to struggle. I don't need to breathe. Moving will only bring more pain. It's best to stay in place and wait. Focused on fighting against fog. The last bit of consciousness I can maintain now. If I let go, everything is over. I know this from the depths of my soul. As I wandered aimlessly, I could hear fragments of conversation. It's obvious. Someone betrayed us, we know it can't be a livestock. A babbling idiot. She's already one of our people, and this attack has been prepared for a few weeks. I can't trust his descendants. I knew. Bring her back, otherwise we will never know. She has already been fed and is still deteriorating, she has almost gone too far. For some reason, we went up again. We have reached another grand entrance, this time made of wood. We passed through a burnt-down estate. We walked through a garden. We are outside. Finally, something woke me up from my slumber and I let out a weak moan. It's him. My redemption. His presence makes me more complete. Enough for me to follow what happened. The blond man threw me to the ground. I curled up around my stomach. I resist the pain. I can't do anything. I will live on. I just need to persist for a few more minutes, and the master will save me. Just hold on a little longer, did you come back so soon? Don't play dumb, Lord Nellery, I see through your conspiracy. I really doubt this, little Gasper. You don't even have enough hand index to understand all of this. You. So you admit that this is what you did. What is it? The attack on us. You came here, and within a week, we were attacked. Do you want me to believe this is a coincidence? Perhaps it's because of the long-awaited conference. I'm willing to explain Occam's razor and confirm bias to you, but I lack patience and crayons. Oh. That's enough, Lord Gaspard. If we want to know more, just ask this little girl. Lord Nyrery. I'm also curious. The master grabbed my neck. I don't need to look at him to know. His touch made my body relax. Even the pain and longing faded away. I found myself looking at his face. Ah, those handsome features. The existence of such kings. His noble beard. His 8-pointed teeth. Irene. Oh, my name is on his lips. I have fallen. I found myself smiling like a foolish girl. I love him so much. Answer me. As my body completely relaxed, the world gradually disappeared. As the world disappeared, I regained perfect clarity. I have never felt so focused since I woke up in this dark cell. What did I ask you when we first met? Unless instructed, do not speak, call youth master, and obey Meina in all matters. Have you ever spoken without permission? No, master. Have you addressed me with any titles other than me? No, master. Did you obey Meina's instructions? Yes, master. Have you behaved properly? I think so. Yes, master. We will see it. Lord Icon, you can ask her a question, and I will convey it to her. His attention turned to others. No. Look at me. He turned back and looked at me. Yes. When did you wake up? I don't know, maybe 15 minutes ago. At sunset. Do you know about the attack on our fortress? I know. Have you ever helped the attackers in any way or at any time? No. There was some commotion outside, and after a while, he asked me again. Little Gaspard thinks we've been betrayed. What do you think, little one? I agree. Another commotion. The owner looks very surprised. Oh. Why do you think so? I saw Ogtai and two intruders walking together. They were talking. This disturbance is quite significant. Tell us what happened. When I conveyed that encounter to the host, his smile became wider and more evil, until he burst out laughing. That sinister voice made my stomach tremble. Ah, young Eileen, you have brought me something I never expected to find in this abandoned corner. Entertainment. Ximena, how have my descendants behaved? Take a moment to pause. Well, I declare that you have fulfilled your obligations under the agreement. This result surprises me. It is not every 10 years that someone can make me so happy. As promised, you can absorb my essence. May it become everything you expect. He slowly dragged me to the bend of his neck. I didn't understand what he wanted until he placed my mouth on his soft skin. My mouth instinctively opened, he let himself be touched. I feel some thick syrup flowing through my parted lips. Time has stopped. Even if one day I forget my name, even if I live for 1,000 years, even if I lose my last sense, I will never forget the moment when I tasted the essence. I will continue to move forward amidst the blessings of this experience and knowing that there is no incomparable curse. I cannot express myself in words. I have enjoyed the pleasure of death 1,000 times. The waves of pain and joy pass through me time and time again, lasting for a moment in a lifetime, and I am powerless to be taken away by them. After a while, an illusion like a passing dream appeared before me. I am sitting on a chariot pulled by 2 horses. I shot an arrow that was accurately and deeply buried in the throat of a man. My first killing, more than once. A foreign princess prostrated in front of me, her brother's blood still stained her skirt. I said a few words. She untied her dress with tears of shame. It slid smoothly off her golden shoulders. I stood up. An elderly woman sits in the center of a complex garden. Her beauty and wisdom are legends. She is writing a complex spell on a piece of dried human skin. When she heard my voice, she looked up and smiled. I am lying on a bed contaminated with sweat and blood. My hand is gripping the wound in my stomach. The smell is nauseating. The same woman leaned against me with a sad smile. She gently combed my hair. Her other hand held a bottle of black liquid and handed it to my mouth, and I swallowed it. Before the scorching force ignited my heart, I gasped for breath and pulled open. My tired thinking has been recast in the sharpest and coldest places. Power runs through me, invading every organ. I absorb it like a thirsty woman on the verge of death. I remember. My name is Erin Lucille Beatrice Reno. I have a father and a brother. Family, friends, hopes, and dreams. My best friend and I came to New Orleans for a brief stay together. I plan to talk to an acquaintance at the ball and then meet the host here. No. No. No, 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 what did you do to me, you? You. The monster laughed, he was full of laughter. No. This is impossible, it's a nightmare. No. I refuse no. This is, what have you done? Who am I? Why? So much anger, little one, do you hate me? Do you hate me? How can I hate him when I love him so much, hate him so much, love him so much, and hate him so much? No, Lord. No. Are you happy then? Tears. They're so precious. Aren't they? Isn't that your wish? How dare you? You violated me, killed me, and turned me into this. His hand slid from my neck to my throat. Shoo, I can't tolerate you talking like that, little one. After everything I've done for you. He smiled brightly. You are so precious that a little peasant girl dared to approach me as if we were equal. You even greeted me proactively and freely introduced yourself. I wanted to tear you apart because of your rudeness, but then you started talking. So many plans, so many dreams. I am deeply moved by this push and passion. You remind me of a person I knew a long time ago. Like you, she surpassed her status, but she succeeded. Her deeds inspired the entire civilization. You are just like her. You want everything, you even want me. You asked me if I was married. Assuming so arrogant. I have to watch all of this happen. So here, little ones, like me, have become vampires. Breaking free from the constraints of this almost civilized corner. You can live forever. Time will not wither your beauty, nor will it dull your wisdom. You can get everything, even me. Show me how far you can reach, little Aaron. Show me that I haven't wasted my blood and seeds on another loser. You won't escape, goo. God. Are you trying to say, God? There is only one God for us. Look up. Despite my best efforts, I still looked up at the sky. So beautiful. The canopy of light and darkness. A mysterious artist throws the light and shadow of colors in some incomprehensible pattern. I never thought heaven would be so amazing, if it weren't for a new celestial body. Twisted clouds and evil purple rhizomes surround an eye with black sclera and red pupils. It is absolutely huge. It is even bigger than the moon. There is a huge eye in the sky. A demon cat's eye with a purple crown. I stared blankly, speechless. It's also staring at me. I want to close my eyes, but I can't because the owner has instructed me to look. Pure terror flows in my heart. It is alive. I feel a presence. Welcome to your journey of black and red, little one, said the owner. May it be everything you expect.